All right, everybody. This is the Pipeline Podcast. Today is June 22nd. The obvious story, if you don't live under a rock, is the U.S. attacked Iran like last night or this morning.
Another war.
Yeah, another
Woo,
one.
let's hear it.
Let's
Let's
go.
hear it for more war.
So that's what we're covering tonight. This isn't like a full-length episode. This is just like breaking news. We got to cover it. It's happening right now. It's live. Whoa. If you want to check out our long form content, it's going to be every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Check out our Twitch. You could watch it live with us. If you don't like that, just wait for the video on YouTube. And let's get the fuck into it. I got a bunch of sources here. The first source, US B-2 stealth bombers flew 37 hours non-stop. That's America right there. Refueled mid-air. Yeah. To launch deadly attack on Iran. Question mark?
More like to bring freedom to Iran.
Yeah. Everybody, you're all welcome right now. You are so welcome that we attacked Iran after Israel bit off a little bit more than they could chew by attacking them. So let's check out this video. Oh, yeah. USA.
The United States Armed Forces launched strikes on 3 Iranian nuclear and military locations, escalating
numbers, do
the
6 next time.
Israel-Iran conflict. The Atomic Energy Organization of Iran acknowledged that all 3 nuclear facilities were indeed struck. President Donald Trump characterized the operations as very successful, noting that the attacks targeted the Natanz, Fordo, and Isfahan sites, with Fordo identified as the main objective. The attack on the Fordo nuclear site has spotlighted the cutting-edge B-2 stealth bomber. Israel has launched punishing strikes on Iran since June 13th, but failed to hit the Fordo site.
Yeah, they can't.
Israel
they can't hit
neither
it.
has the bomb nor the bomber to hit the Fordo nuclear site, and that is why the B-2 stepped in, dealing a severe blow to Iran. Here's all you need to know.
Let's go.
Okay, so they blew up all the nuclear sites, right?
3
that
of them.
means we don't have to go to war, and we can just stop now.
War's
right?
over, boys. We did it.
Right, guys? Right?
Freedom.
Right?
GG.
Oh wait. Iran and North Korea are still the 2 countries in the world without a Rothschild central banking system. Looks like we gotta do a regime change war.
Wait, did I hear a little rumor Iran sending oil to Russia, not the U.S.? What's going on there?
Did I hear a rumor that there might have been a railway built between Iran and Russia?
What?
So that they can get oil from other BRICS nations?
Bro, some might call that a pipeline. We might have to cover that. Damn, what's going on in Iran?
First, let's analyze why the B-2 bombers' strike on Fordo is so pivotal. The B-2 bombers flew nonstop for about 37 hours from Missouri and refueled midair to fly within reach of Iran's nuclear sites. Fordo is Iran's second nuclear enrichment site after Natanz. Fordo is built into the side of a mountain near the Iranian city of Qom. The Fordo site is estimated to be 80 meters under rock and soil.
That's it? Gotta dig deeper next time.
Natanz, Iran's main enrichment site. Construction at the Fordo nuclear site began around 2006. Operations began in 2009, and Iran acknowledged the existence of the Fordo site. The OS feared B-2 is a strategic long-range heavy bomber. The B-2 has a range of about 11,000 kilometers without refueling. The B-2 has a range of about 18,500 kilometers.
That's more like it.
With 1 refueling. B-2 bomber can reach any point in the world within hours. The United States B-2 stealth bomber has a wingspan of 172 feet.
Yeah, we get it. That's about the video. I just wanted to show off Team USA. If you haven't heard of it, you're on the wrong side of things, brothers. That's the B-2 bomber.
More like Team Israel.
Yeah, no, that is absolutely true. Here's my hot take on what happened here. Israel attacks Iran, realizes, oh shit, we're fucked, and says, oh, Daddy Trump, please, I didn't start it, I promise. They were gonna attack us any day now. Can you go help us out? And Trump's like, You gonna sign that lease for the Trump Tower in Gaza? And Yahoo is just like, anything you want, Daddy Trump, please just save us.
Yeah, so I will say that I do believe it is part of a greater plan. Back last year, when Israel had already carried out missile strikes and killed the Iranian prime minister, or I believe it was the Iranian prime minister, back when they did that, Iran launched an attack on Israel where they were able to use their new hypersonic missiles that were able to penetrate the Iron Dome.
Yeah.
So, right, and Israel has known now for the better part of a year, Iran has weapons that can penetrate the Iron Dome. So to do something like this and not expect a retaliation or something, this, in my opinion, was very much the plan.
It was very deliberate.
Do a preemptive strike. Yes, very deliberate to reach the point where the United States has to come in, use its bunker busters, and blow up Iran's nuclear sites.
You could almost say Israel is taking advantage of the United States military-industrial complex. You could almost make that claim.
It's almost like they own the military-industrial complex.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, I mean, if they're not taking advantage of it, they must just be in control of it.
Well, that's hyperbolic, but...
it is, but, someone's the bitch here. Is it Israel or is it the U.S.? Who's the bitch?
A lot of our tech,
it ain't
lot
Trump.
Of our interrogation, a lot of our fighting techniques all comes from Israel and Mossad.
Yeah, we do work very closely with them. Their interests are our interests at the end of the day.
I never said that.
Well, even if you don't like it, it's not like ours, but it's in terms of like the United States military. They're very intertwined.
In terms of the United States military, yes, Israel is an aircraft carrier for us in the Middle East. You are correct.
Yeah. So we have another source here. I hope if you're watching this channel, you've seen this clip here, the 7 countries in 5 years clip. We just want to go over it. Do you remember this guy's name? I already forgot.
General Wesley Clark. I believe this is in 2007, where he is talking about how the United States, before and during 9/11, immediately knew that we were going to go take several different countries that we did.
Yeah,
and so when this video airs, they talk about countries we had yet to invade, like Somalia and Lebanon and Iran. And of course, he mentions, as we'll see in the video, he mentions that we finish off with Iran, which is exactly what we're doing.
Because Iran is like the big powerhouse.
Yeah, it took 4 times the amount of time that he stated here, but that's the American way. We got to draw it out and make a little bit more money.
Yeah, plans, it's just a plan when they create these things and you got to like execute. Things take a little longer. It says here in the description, the 7 countries, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, Lebanon, and then Iran. So let's check out the clip.
I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me and he said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, No. He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran." I said, "Is it classified?" He said, "Yes, sir." I said, "Well, don't show it to me." And I saw him a year or so ago, and I said, "You remember that?" He said, "Sir, I didn't show you that memo. I didn't show it to you."
I'm sorry, what did you say his name was?
Yeah, so that's the clip. Allegedly, this memo is real, and like that's like the master plan here. Iran's like the last country in the Middle East that we want to like overthrow.
So if you go down that list, you'll notice many of those countries, if not all of them, at the time were countries that did not have a Rothschild central banking system in there. And now it's just, and Cuba. Cuba was also there, but the United States fixed its deal with Cuba about 10 years ago or so. And so now we're just down to Iran and North Korea. Funny how these are all countries that we've been bombing and at war at for the past 20 years.
Like this stuff with Iran, I guess if you don't really want to go dig deep into this 7 countries in 5 years thing, it's not a new thing. It's been around for a while. This isn't new. Every president has their own little beefs with Iran. Even the last time Trump was president, he killed one of Iran's like military leaders, and then Iran bombed one of our military bases. This kind of stuff happens, but there might be like a greater plan here, like a complete like overthrow of like Iran's government. So super fun stuff. We have more sources. Here's a little PowerPoint from the Pentagon on how they did their little attack. It's super cute and low quality. All right, let's check out the plan here. You ready? Operation Midnight Hammer. The bombers depart. They got like refueling points. They enter Iran at 1800 and their time on target 1840 to 1900-ish. They don't even say. And then the bombers exit and they return home. Very detailed by the Pentagon. I love this. I love this little graphic. It's so easy to understand. We like the picture. And once again, Donald Trump saves the day. I don't know if you heard about this, but he got nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize by Pakistan. I mean, he's going to get nominated for another one at this point if he keeps bombing everybody. Like, this is really, really good stuff. This is peace through strength right here.
This is your tax dollars going to waste so that the United States...
You say it's a waste, bro. No way.
Yeah, it is.
No way. This is money well spent right here.
As we'll see in our next clip, Iran has been used as a scapegoat like this multiple times in order for our media and our officials to manufacture us consent to go to war with Iran and finally topple their government.
Yeah, have you heard all the stuff about, oh, Iran has sleeper cells and they might attack the United States?
I've been hearing this propaganda for the past 20 years of my life.
Oh, yeah, and they're definitely about to get nukes. Iran is so close to nukes. They're 3 years off for 40 years now.
Yeah, exactly. Israel has been talking about Iran being able to kill them with nuclear weapons for this past several decades.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at our next source here. Oh, this is a really fun one. Check this out. This is John McCain, 18 years ago, maybe a little bit more than 18 years ago. It's him talking about bombing Iran. It's a really funny video. Let's listen to it. The quality is terrible.
It's well documented that we have, for quite a long time now, known where the real problem is in the Middle East. And in fact, the president adequately described it as the axis of evil. I guess my question is, how many times do we have to prove that these people are blowing up people now? Never mind if they get a nuclear weapon. When do we send them an airmail message to Tehran? That old Beach Boys song, Bomb Iran. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Hey, man.
Now that was good stuff. And if you didn't clap during that speech, you're a terrorist. You should have clapped.
If you couldn't understand, that was John McCain saying, you know that song by the Beach Boys, bomb, 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 Iran. And remember, this is a good guy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like he's talking to Americans and Americans like are clapping and like supporting what he's saying. Yes, you should love it too. Learn to love it. You're welcome. That is our last source just on like Iran bombing Iran, but we really got them. So we loaded up bunker busting bombs inside our stealth bombers. I got another hot take that Trump did this because his military parade didn't go that well because it rained and the turnout wasn't that big. And so he needed something else that was going to like look good in the news. And so like this is what he does because some people do like this kind of stuff. Seeing like our military kick ass. That's what we do. You got a problem with it? What are you going to do about it? I'm sure the White House and the Pentagon see this as a win. But really, it could escalate. Iran could have a huge response here. We'll have to find out. We'll have to wait and see. I kind of think they're just going to keep like bombing Israel like they have been, and eventually it will die off. But I guess we'll have to see. Like, I can't give you like a real take on if Iran actually has nukes or not, or if they were very close to it. Everyone claims different things, that they're not working on nukes, that they have nukes, and that they almost have nukes. So I don't know about that. Here is another fun source. So this is context on Iran. In case you don't know what Iran is, it's not just like a country that all they do is try to make nukes, nuke Israel. They like do other stuff, allegedly. So we have a video here. It's a very religious country, and they have like a lot of religious laws. So basically right here, this is like a women's protest recorded by BBC, or at least posted by BBC. Iranian women burning headscarves, which they're supposed to wear when they're outside. Recently, it's a little bit more relaxed. If you're a girl in Iran, you might be able to get away without wearing it. But I don't know if all that's true. I really don't know. But I do know this video is a thing. They were protesting the death of a lady who was detained for violating hijab laws. And this is kind of a video of the protest. I think this is the girl that died. This is like the protest here. They're just like burning their hijabs. And this is kind of the culture, kind of like a current event type thing. Instead of like LA riots, this is like the kind of stuff they're doing. But this is the stuff I want to cover, them burning their hijabs. I thought it was super interesting. Because people talk about, oh, you need a regime change in Iran because they're about to get nukes. When in reality, maybe they're not so close to nukes. These people still want Iran to have a new regime. This kind of stuff could be why. Super Christian people might see this and like freak out. But I don't really know. We have more context though. So before the Islamic Revolution in Iran, this is kind of like what the people looked like, which I don't know the way to describe it, but I guess less covered up, more like modern for the time. When nowadays they're supposed to like cover up. These are just like pictures. So like this was like a Middle Eastern country. And you don't really imagine like a Middle Eastern country looking like this. And then here's just a little more context. In Iran, women are legally required to cover their hair with a headscarf and wear loose clothing that covers their arms and legs. But again, like legally required, it's kind of like you're legally required to stop at a stop sign, but maybe some of these things aren't always enforced, but they could be. There's a bunch of stuff, but I'm not really going to go into it. My hot take, Netanyahu attacked Iran, got attacked back and realized he couldn't even hit the nuclear facilities and do it himself. And I'm sure he knew he couldn't deal with Iran himself. His master plan was to just attack them outright and cry to Daddy Trump and say, hey, help me out, bro. Come on. We're fam, which is just warmongering. And at the end of the day, you are so welcome that you live in the United States, not Iran, because you don't want to be on the other side of this. B-2 stealth bombers, bunker busting nuclear facilities. You can't stop that. They said one of them was 80 feet underground and it blew it up.
This is what happens when you want to buy and sell natural resources not to the United States and not using the United States dollar, which is the reserve currency for the world.
Yeah, you're going to get learned. You're going to get some freedom.
This is what happens when you don't take loans from the World Bank or the IMF, so you don't get indebted to them. This is what happens.
Yeah, you try to do that bullshit, and then at the same time, you try to develop nukes, potentially. You are going to get freedom, and you got to watch out for that. I also want to talk about how Trump was supposed to be the anti-war president, and if this doesn't escalate into a war, he's right. But I think a lot of people didn't realize that he might do something like this. And I heard him talk about a similar situation before where he was like, man, in my first presidency, I should have just went with my gut and like acted on it. And I kind of think he's not trying to play like mediator here. After this 4 years, it's over, most likely, unless he does some weird loophole stuff like he keeps hinting at. But I think it's a joke to get another term.
Let's do a real quick side note on that. Do you know how it became that a president can only have 2 terms?
Whoa. Oh, it was after World War II.
You want to know why? Do you know why, I should say?
This is what
it's
I know.
It's because FDR was seen as such a good president from the New Deal to dealing with war that the Republicans thought that if they didn't set a term limit, they would never become president again. They would never have their time as a president again.
Oh, that's actually kind of funny.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
It's because of FDR and what he did for the people.
But yeah, I know FDR got a bunch of terms, and a lot of it had to do with World War II. because people just really trusted him during that time, which makes sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Are you arguing for no term limit?
Yeah. In all honesty, it makes no sense to have term limits. But because of the way that the United States government is right now, that's your only saving grace. However, there aren't term limits for like the head of the FBI or the director of the CIA or any of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you just have term limits for very superficial positions. I mean, your Congress is the people who actually make laws, but the people who are in the government doing things for 30, 40 years plus, those are not elected officials. So what's the they don't have term limits. So those people are the ones that are driving our foreign policy and things like that.
Now that's a hot take. I never thought about it. I think Trump might try after hearing that. I don't know. Is he going to try to like get a third term?
You probably need to make an amendment, right?
Or just make an executive order? Like, I don't know how this works. Or just run again? I don't know.
Yeah, it was a 22nd amendment. It was a 22nd amendment. So the
make
way
a
that
new
they could
amendment
go about
or
that is
repeal
that
it?
they could make a new amendment repealing it. Yeah, he could not. I'm not saying I hope for another Trump presidency or want him to do this. I'm just saying
Right, but I wouldn't be surprised if he
everyone talks about it
tries.
like it's crazy fascism things where it's like we repealed prohibition before.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't be a crazy fascist thing, but people would be in the streets screaming, "Oh, we're turning into Nazi Germany," which is a little bit ridiculous. That concludes the sidebar.
Sidebar. Sorry.
Yeah,
continue.
sidebar is concluded. Is Trump warmongering? Is Netanyahu warmongering? Or is this all Iran's fault? I kind of think Netanyahu has got to take at least like 55% of the blame here for straight up attacking Iran.
Preemptive, in quotation marks. Preemptive means that there was no reason to do it. He did not have a reason to do it. There is no in retaliation. Yes, unprovoked.
Yeah.
That is what preemptive means.
Yes, it is. After seeing Israel's track record in Gaza, it leads me to believe they didn't have the best interest at heart when they attacked Iran. And maybe they didn't have solid intel that Iran was like 82% complete with enriching their uranium for a nuke. That's kind of my take here. And then Netanyahu cries to US and says, "Hey, Iran's bombing us. Please, Daddy, can you deal with this?" In reality, it's like, well, why are they bombing you, Netanyahu? Because you attacked them. But
BB.
Yeah.
Little BB.
But Trump's like, you know what? I got this. I'll save the day. I'll step in here. I'll deal with this in one swift sweep. They won't even know what hit them. We'll send the stealth bombers. We'll cover it. We'll take pictures. It'll be epic. That does conclude it. We're going to follow this because it keeps fucking escalating. Israel v. Iran is now US v. Iran. How did that happen? What the fuck? We'll definitely follow it. And yes, Trump is the anti-war president because peace through strength. You're welcome, bitch. Have a good night.